You advertised the car on eBay, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
And it was for £4,250?
Correct.
Now, prior to August, you said you would buy it, did you?
Yes, I did. I expressed a very strong interest that I wanted to buy it. I was happy with the price, but I wasn't ready yet.
As far as your case is concerned, Edward at some point gave you some sort of assurance that he was going to purchase the car.
Yeah.
When did he give you that assurance, according to what you say?
On the 7th of August, he turned up with his daughter to view the car.
How much were you offering the car for on that day?
We agreed and shook hands at £3,500.
Did you offer to buy the car for £3,500 on that day, which was the, you'll take it from me, the 7th of August?
I would never have shook hands on anything, no.
You didn't shake hands?
No.
He did, and I can prove that.
What modifications do you say he asked you to do?
He asked me to remove the bull bar and to remove the bed, as he needed an open plan to be able to adapt it for carrying surfboards, or basically just for his use, which I agreed to.
Hi, Edward. What day is best for you to collect the hearse? Work until 5 p.m, etc. Hi, Dan. We'll confirm tonight. Having a battle with my wife, who is now saying she will never use it with me. And then you reply, she loved the idea, approached me at the show, asking if it was for sale, speak to you later, etc. I've removed the bull bar and bed at your request. Now, where do I find a text message making clear that Edward had assured you he would pay £3,500 for the car?
I have a message saying that I sent to Edward on the 7th, thanking him for meeting me that day, and would there be any way I could have a deposit from him?
It says as follows. Good evening. I'm going to read it to you just in case you haven't seen it. Good evening. And thanks for coming today. Could I possibly push you for a deposit so I know it's sold? This way I can make arrangements to get my camper work started. You're going to use the money from that to pay for something else?
Yeah.
Do you accept that you sent that message?
I do, Judge, and to be honest, that text pretty well sums up the outrageous accusation that I'm standing in front of, because that tells you more than anything that a man needs a deposit before doing any work whatsoever to the vehicle. Yes, I did say about the bull bar, but in my opinion, I was giving him good advice. It was a hideous piece of work in the front of the car, and he was, if he was going to sell it, it needed to come off. So, but you don't take anything off until you've had the deposit, and it's really all in that text. So that, in my opinion, is probably my best defence.
Did he respond?
He said that I told you money would be paid at the end of the month.
If you haven't got a deposit, you haven't sold it. It's that simple.
I'm interested in you, sir. Let me worry about the law and the rules.
Well,
Right?
I'm also worried because I'm the defendant.
I understand what the legal principles here are. I'm asking you questions because they're going to assist me with a judgment which will be reasoned, and I'll explain all of the relevant law depending on how I rule. Do you recall replying to that text message?
I don't recall, no. But to be fair, I don't recall any, because I have not kept any of the text messages, I don't recall
That is a fair reply. Now, on the 30th of August, Edward, you made it clear that the family didn't like the hearse and were no longer interested in it. Is that right?
Yeah, it went very badly. My wife seemed completely mortified by the idea. She changed her mind. It was... I think once they'd started talking to people, they didn't want to use it. I, to be fair, was still more interested in the art side of it, but I wasn't prepared to take the family on. So I don't think it's at all unusual in a situation where you've said you're going to buy a car, the family changes their mind, you don't buy it.
What's your response to that?
I disagree. It was actually his wife that approached me at the show, first of all, and said, wow, a hearse. My husband's looking for a hearse. They went and found Edward, brought him up, looked around it. Edward insisted that I kept his number and informed him the minute it was ready for sale, which I did.
Were there various moments in the communication between the beginning and the end of August where you asked Edward to forward a deposit and he said no, or simply didn't reply?
There was moments where he didn't reply. I've got another one here.
Let's see.
That was on where there's nothing.
This is on the 11th of August. Hi, and there doesn't appear to be a reply, I should say. No. Hi, it's Dan with Hearst. I'm desperately trying to speak to you. Can you call me? And on the face of it, it appears that you didn't respond at that point. Do you recall getting that message? Maybe not.
I do. I do also remember sending a text actually asking him to back off continuing to ask for a deposit. And I don't think that could be more obvious, as in, I am not ready or buying your car now.
Well, there are more obvious ways to say, I'm not buying your car and I'm not interested, such as what? What could you have written?
Well, I'm not paying a deposit was my way of saying I'm not buying your car at the moment, in the future, not now, whatever. I'm not buying it.
Why not simply write, I am no
Well,
longer...
I didn't.
I'm
Judge.
no longer interested in buying the car.
Well, my interest is probably still there in the background, but at the moment I'm not ready and I haven't agreed to it and I have paid no deposit and I'm not buying it.
Now, on the 30th of thereabouts, unfortunately, having talked to all the family, they do not want to use it. I'm sorry, Edward. Now, that text message, are you relying on it, and you may want to, as the moment where you ostensibly say, Edward, I am no longer interested and this is the final time I wish to communicate with you, in effect?
Yes, Judge.
So basically, you've messed me around for a whole month and have the front to accuse me of pressuring you for a deposit. Absolute joke. Nothing worse than a time waster. You were chasing him for a deposit and he was effectively silent or ignored.
once.
He was either silent or ignoring you, correct?
Ignoring me.
Now, the question for
ignoring
Edward...
you if I
question for Edward...
can't be ignoring
the
him,
question for Edward
There
is this
is
question...
pressure.
Do not interrupt me. Don't be stupid. Stay and watch the best Judge Rinder moments. And I'm talking. Understood? Don't be a moron. Subscribe to Judge Rinder YouTube channel. Right now. That's an order.